maybe I'm wrong on this. Like, honestly, if I were to ever get popular enough on this channel that people actually were commenting on things, I would love that because the feedback would be excellent. When it comes to some things that I feel like people overcomplicate in gardening, seed depth for planting, to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but to me it sure seems like you could just say 3 times the size of the seed is like the deepest you want to plant something. Because when you look at a seed, I swear, if you were to like measure that seed and you were to look at it times 3 depths down, I mean, you don't want to have a seed any more than its size 3 times deep. I mean, it's just about right. Like if you look at a corn husk and they say 1.5 inches down or like 1 inch down, I mean, that's literally like about 3 down. And I would almost rather plant something too shallow rather than too deep. I don't know. When it comes to a tiny seed, dude, surface sow that bad boy. We're talking you really, I mean, you do want to cover it, but you don't. Okay, if all the wind starts to blow this way and all of the soot and ash is going to be in the footage, I don't know what to tell us. Seed depth. I just don't think that it's as important as people make it when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean, if anything, I think the seed depth, the rule should just be don't do it too deep. Too deep is the problem. If it can't see any sun, or if it's not, I guess, insulated enough. You know, if it really needs to have a certain amount of moisture holding its like happy little lid, like if it needs a lid, if it needs to be covered to have like a little bit of shade or happy soil moistening it up, keeping it moist, yes, I guess that's a factor. Okay, but short of those 2 dimensions, you know, as long as it's not getting too hot and burned from the sun, like it's got a little bit of shade / a little bit of insulation for at least half the day. Because again, if it's surface sowed, then it's so tiny that, you know, just a tiny bit of sun is gonna shade it for most of the day. Like from even just the little nuggets of sand and rock that are like around it are gonna kind of keep it kind of shaded and usually help with germination to get going, usually. That's just just some observations. Instead of having to make a note on every single package what the seed depth for perfect planting is, I've gotten kind of where I will skip writing that. I'm more interested in the seed row, spacing, because I'm really bad to like maybe not guesstimate how big this variety is going to get at full size. So like if it's 30 inches apart in rows or a foot or 2, that matters for how big the plant's going to get and how much it's going to shade things. And as you get to know plants, I mean, when I get a perfect bed ready to go, obviously bigger to smaller, you know, your bigger plants in the back and then working smaller, that's, you know, pretty broken down, pretty easy. I feel like people overcomplicate that a little bit. You know, as far as there are a few plants, obviously, that strong aromas will hinder their growth. So those are the ones you want to keep away from the strong smelling plants. I have this list. But, you know, that list is the ones that, you know, don't put them next to peppermint or onions, you know, things that are highly aromatic. And then like come to find out that like walnut husks put out a chemical that slows the growth of other plants. It's been kind of a fun thing to learn, an interesting thing to learn. So there are actually chemicals in the plants that will speed and slow growth of other plants around them. But other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot for. Again, I've also learned when people come to talk about perfect row planting and perfect box planting, if it's going to get attacked by like a worm or some kind of mite or infection, it's like easier for that mite or infestation to take over if everybody of that little clan is like right around the same area. Like they're like, oh, we all live in the same bush. So then they're like, oh, delicious, like feast for everybody. Come to this corner of so-and-so and so-and-so and meet us there. We're going to eat up the whole bed. So that's like probably what's happening. But, you know, when I, believe it or not, tend to sort of just throw some seeds. I know, I'm bad. Sometimes I'll put some in a little pot, you know, to babysit them and, you know, watch the germination rate so I can write a review. But honestly, a lot of times I will just toss these seeds out and in different heights of the soil and areas that I know just get water or that are low and catch water. So I feel like there's going to be a healthy germination rate there. And the spread outness, the variety of different plants, you know, being in not all in the same quadrant or the same area, means if one guy is going to get attacked, it's like the other guy on the other side of the garden has a way better chance of withstanding an attack from that same blight or that same bug that, you know, likes to eat tomatoes. You got tomato over here and way over there. Instead of having all your tomatoes together, it's just smarter. I've also heard when it comes to bug control, you can make a water-based mix of your leaves from your tomatoes. I don't know if you've ever noticed, I'm sure you've noticed, if you've done any pruning of a tomato, you come inside and you just smell like those leaves. Those leaves are highly aromatic, and it turns out, no one likes the smell, including me. But you can snip them up and put them, in water, just like you were tincturing them or something. Just, kind of medium, cut them up. Just cut them up as easy as you can, just so fit them in inch chunks in the bottom of a jar, and let that steep with some water. Make kind of a tea of it, and you can spray that on your plants, and it is actually pretty darn good at keeping the bugs off. I know for a fact it works with leaf miners, because I have a couple of plants that leaf miners just love, and it seems like I have to keep those extra protected. The numbers and what zone you're in to plant. Pretty much you just need to get the cold hardiness figured out. I mean, a hot hardiness, if you keep things watered enough, I've lived through some 120-degree summers in Palm Springs. I wasn't gardening there. People do have plants out there that they can keep watered enough, and when they're enough watered, then they can really, it was just so interesting to me when I lived in Palm Springs, and you look out in the desert areas of like 29 Palms or Joshua Tree National Park out there, and it's so desert, and just no plants, no green. The only green, cactuses, right? Like that's it. And maybe those yucca plants that they have everywhere out there. But short of that, like there's not a whole lot of green. And when people were like, oh yeah, look at everything in Palm Springs that's green, everything in Palm Desert and Indio, all of this has been brought in by gardeners and landscapers. It was, when you really see how beautiful and green it is out there, it's a lot to process that it's all been brought in. When it comes to cold hardiness, that's like a really important factor. You just really probably keep that one in mind. I did make a cold hardiness list pretty quickly. And again, once you make these exhaustive lists, you learn that there are just trends, and then you don't have to make as big a deal of it. You quickly realize what breeds of plants. I don't know. I'm the worst at what genus, what species. I'm the worst at the right words for these things, because there's animals in our world too. My husband's parents, breed dogs, so there's species there for sure. Breeds. How much watering? That's another one. This has a ton to do with where it's planted as far as how much it's watered. I don't even really make notes about the watering on some of these plants, because I know that if it's going to be in one of my fabric bags, in an above ground fabric bag, that it's going to get way more air, and that it's just, root rot is almost impossible, thank goodness, in these fabric bag planters, which is another reason I really love them, because you can dadgum overwater the heck out of those, and it's going to seep out. And there's always a better airflow. But if I do it in a plastic container, or if I'm putting it into a terracotta, or if I'm putting it all the way into the ground, all the way into the ground, I've never seen something root rot in the ground. I guess I've just never had a muddy enough puddle of a full-time spot that would root rot something in the ground. So to me, you put it in the ground, I'm not as experienced at putting plants in the ground. I need to get better at this. I'm scared, because I like being able to micromanage where it is. If it's getting too much sun, I can easily move the plant. And I'm honestly about to have a bunch that are in the ground. I'm hoping more of the ones in the ground are the annuals. Almost everybody that's in an above ground planter, and I do tend to personify my plants, almost everybody who's in an above ground planter needs to be in an above ground planter, because it has to be moved in for the winter, or I might not know immediately where they are happiest that season. If it's like a way hot season, they might need to live more in the shade. If it's a way cold season, they may need more sun. Never had a cold season. It's usually the first one. These are things that are, things I have to consider, that I've enjoyed learning about. But when it comes to how much to water them, gosh, most of my plants, every single day, they like to be watered. I know that I've killed some succulents doing that, but maybe those succulents just weren't for me.